Well, I think one thing that helped with this video is that you had already done 2 other videos. So I
Yes.
think there was a lot of lessons learned when we did our video from, the shape video and the other video. So I'm Jim Smith. I'm superintendent of water treatment at East Bay Mud. Been here about 17 years. And I'm also a teacher at Solano Community College. And actually, my whole career, in one way or another, has been involved with water. I was also in the service, and I was a plumber and a welder in the service. And then when I got out of college, I was a computer programmer for estimating equalization of flows in rice paddies in Thailand and the Philippines. And then a job came up to be a water treatment operator, and I got the job, and I was in DC at the time, and people said to me, how can you study an element? I mean, what's water treatment? I mean, they had no clue as to what water treatment was. The idea that there was a lot of work and science and effort behind, turning on the tap and water coming out, I thought was fascinating. And why I'm involved is, like a lot of people have said, we're kind of a hidden industry. A lot of people don't know about us. We're a critical industry. It's public health, protecting the environment. It's something that people need all the time. And to get people involved, to get our name out there and let people know it's an option, I think is very important. And also, like Levi said, when we started the teaching, there were so many people that didn't know math. It's a 16-week curriculum. And we should spend, maybe a quarter of it on math, but we were spending sometimes almost half the curriculum just trying to get people to do some dose calculations and detention time calculations. So I think it's extremely important that kids and young adults understand that the math is a really applicable tool that you need in almost every field, whether it's water treatment or any other field. Some of the products, well, we produced the Go With The Flow video, and we produced this script, and the script was a collaborative effort for all of us involved. And we wanted to come up with a scenario that showed when you have a problem at the plant, if the plant's producing 20 million gallons a day, you still need to produce 20 million gallons a day. Just because we're having a problem doesn't mean you can shut the plant down, reduce the flow of the plant. You have to still produce water. So we came up with a problem that showed how you problem solve, make adjustments to the plant when there is a problem that focuses 20 million gallons into 2 basins into 20 million gallons into 1 basin. And how do you do that? How do you calculate that? How do you see the impact on the plant? And that's kind of how we developed the script. It was really kind of based on real life situations that we periodically have at the water treatment plants. And the storyboard, that really just came out of the script. We all got together. We talked about the way to communicate to students without using too much jargon, so they didn't get bogged down in a lot of technical terms. We kind of walked around, looked for great locations, good shots, so there'd be a good background, and I think it went pretty well. And here's the video.
Hi, my name is Maria Rodriguez. I'm a senior water treatment operator for East Bay Municipal Utility District, also known as East Bay Mud. Our work is very important for the community and the environment. East Bay Mud operates 6 water treatment plants, and we serve 1.4 million customers in our area.
My name is Andrew Kwan. I'm also a senior water treatment operator. We are public health workers who operate a plant that is fully staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to ensure safe drinking water.
In order to get entry-level jobs in water treatment, it is necessary to have strong math skills because we use math on a regular basis to make sure that we treat the water properly.
We want to show you an example of how math helped us keep water flowing at our treatment plant, even though we had a repair to make from a few months ago.
Even when we need to do repairs and maintenance at the plant, we can't let our customers down. We'd like to show you an example of how we use math in order to make sure that we provide reliable water service.
Hey Maria, just out at basin number 1, and I was noticing that the basin number 1 motor is running a little hot. Do you think we should take it out?
I agree, if the motor's running hot, we should take basin 1 out of service. We should have an electrician look at it.
What is the flow rate of the plant?
The flow rate is 19 million gallons per day, 9.5 million gallons going to basin 1, and the other 9.5 million gallons per day are going to basin 2. Could you call an electrician to come have him investigate the motor and let him know that we'll be taking basin 1 out of service?
Okay, we'll do.
Now that Andrew has called the electrician, we need to calculate some flow times using the flow rates and dimensions of basins. First, we'll be calculating the flow time through basin 2 at the current rate of 9.5 million gallons per day. Then we will be calculating the flow time through basin 2 when we increase the flow to 19 million gallons per day. Essentially, we'll be calculating how long it will take for the water to travel through the basin from when it first enters the basin to when it exits the basin. So basically, the flow time decreases as we increase the flow. And we can calculate this using the flow rates and known dimensions.
So since we have the dimensions available to us, we'll go ahead and go to the conference room and calculate it on the whiteboard for you. I found that being a water treatment operator is a very interesting and rewarding job. Not only are you having great pay, great benefits, but you're also protecting the health of your customers.
If you would like to learn more about how you can get a career in water and wastewater like we did, please visit the BAYWORK website at baywork.org. There you will find more of our personal stories. You will find that some of the personal interviews are available in both English and Spanish. The website is full of information on great water industry jobs. Please check it out and learn more.
Alrighty, hi, I'm Kathy Roizen. I'm at Laney College working in the Industrial Maintenance Program, which is a program that really epitomizes contextual learning. It's a cohort program within the machine tech department, and we train our students for jobs at places like East Bay Mud and Shell. They learn machining and welding and electricity, and then they go on to learn hydraulics and so forth. So I've been at Laney for several years. Before that, I worked in adult education, basic skills, math, primarily GED prep, things along those lines. I've loved teaching or tutoring math for as long as I can remember. It's something I started in high school. And I think the first time I got this notion of what contextualization meant, although I did not have the vocabulary, I wouldn't have called it that at the time, was I was teaching some basic algebra to a student a long time ago when I was in high school, and we were looking at an XY axis, and the student could not understand the grid at all and could not understand how to plot points and draw lines on an XY axis. This was an 8th grader. And I was living in New York at this time. This young man grew up in Manhattan. And it dawned on me that I could explain to him that the island of Manhattan was a grid with an X and a Y axis with avenues and streets that were perpendicular. And suddenly I was able to sort of take this notion of the city that he knew so well and turn it into an XY axis for him and plot points. And it all came alive. Oops, my earring fell out. So that was sort of my first taste of the power of contextualization, how to take a concept and apply it to something that was meaningful to a student. Why did I want to participate? I see every day in my work at Laney how students who are finishing up in machine shop then come into the math class and immediately say, oh, I just learned that. Oh, now I'm going to do this. And they see the way these things work together. And when you're instructing math, one of the things that's most frustrating, at least in the past, was students are always saying, why do I need to know this? And you sort of say, yeah, duh. You know, you sort of get stuck there because they're constantly asking why, and now we have an answer to that question, why. We have career paths to show them, and we have ways to link the material to industry, and that, I think that makes it much more meaningful. Products, okay? So what, you know, Tua and the folks from Los Medanos did the perfect storm a year ago, and they Grant discussed also some of the struggles with creating the curriculum and coming up with stuff. I think we had a really easy time of it, relatively speaking, because we were able to build on the curriculum that they already had created. So we had a template to work from, and that made it practically a piece of cake. You know, we had something to follow. We had already heard about some of the areas where they had struggled, so I think ours went easier. The warm-up, the idea of the warm-up is to get students thinking about, in this case, volume. These were problems relating to calculations of volume and flow rates, which is what Maria and just talked about in the previous video. So we talked about dimensions. We go into dimensions, and we do some conversions. How do you convert 15 million gallons a day to how many gallons per minute might that be? So just basic calculations. Okay. This is background for instructors. So this is a little bit of content for instructors about a little bit about the industry and the concept of flow rate, just so that an instructor would be able to convey this to their students. Or if a student was given the assignment, they could read this first as a prelude to starting, and to provide context. Worksheet for students. So this is really, what is the math problem? This is laying out the math problem with a little bit of background. And I like to explain things as clearly as possible, and just make sure it's written with very clear language. And so we have questions for them. And then this looks like the solution sheet provided for instructors or for students, depending on how you want to structure your classroom. And what does that say? Exit ticket. Okay, so also what I wanted students to reflect upon was not just the math that they learned, but also in watching a video and doing some problems, I think it's really important to recap what you learned about the industry as well. Did you hear some new vocabulary? How do you integrate and make that vocabulary come alive? I see this at Laney all the time. When our students first start the program and they're in a machine shop for the first time, they say things like, and they have to describe something, they'll say, well, you put the thingy on the thingy. Because that's the extent of their vocabulary. They don't know the name of the tool. They don't know the name of the machine. They don't know the name of the process. They have no vocabulary. And so building the vocabulary to be able to speak with some authority and knowledge about industry is critical to being able to communicate and understand what you do. So that was basically it.
Please.
Oh, okay, sure.
We have some time for a panel discussion.
Sure.
And I guess, we're all in here together. What burning questions or ideas, or thoughts do you all want to share with the panel, or questions about this process? Go ahead.
Is there awareness at the school level, the high school level, of the need? Because I have a kid in high school, and there's still a huge focus on college.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any? And actually, I heard something a month or so ago where somebody is kind of rethinking the math paradigm instead of doing algebra, geometry, calculus, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make it a little more relevant in terms of the useful skills. Is there awareness in the educational system of schools?
I would like to address that. I think that the whole field, CTE, Career and Technical Ed, which used to be known as vocational ed, I think the industry and the field has to do a better job of describing what it means today to go into those fields, because there are a lot of misconceptions. There are misconceptions among students, parents, even counselors and teachers at the high school level. I think there's still a residue of this old-fashioned looking at CTE as sort of vocational and less than. and less rigorous, less remunerative, and things have changed a lot. This is not shop class from the 60s, you know? And I think that the word has to get out there that CTE programs are rigorous and challenging. And I have students coming to Laney who think that if they like working with their hands, that's enough. Well, working with your hands is really important. And if people who like to make things or do things or fix things, can be a prerequisite, but it's not sufficient. They have to have the academic skills to go with that. And I think it's just sort of part of what community colleges have to do in terms of reaching out to high schools and adult schools and to parents and community at large to make it understood that these pathways are important, remunerative, and challenging.
And good paying, too.
And really well
really
paying.
Good paying jobs.
But there's still a lot of misconceptions out there.
Are there other educators in the room or funders or anyone who has perspective on this important question and response? We're all industry folks otherwise. Go ahead.
I really liked your comment about thinking that they can work with their hands, right? I supervise multiple crafts where I work just because of the way we're structured. And I have a handful of people that are like, well, I'm good at fixing things, and then they don't want to read manuals, or they can't understand manuals, and then they can't articulate what they've done. So I can pass it up or make a decision on what's going on, and I think it's really critical that make sure people understand this is a very technical job. Our equipment's very complicated. It interfaces with so many aspects of the process and the facility. And even trades overlap on some of the equipment because of all the control systems we have now. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head.
I have a question for our two actors, our industry experts over there. Did participating in this process or filming, this curriculum make you feel differently about your jobs in any way? Did it kind of add a new element that you hadn't considered before? Or how was this process for you, and what are you thinking about now?
For me, I'm a little bit like, you're talking about several different groups that are trying to get into the business. New students, high school students, maybe career, just out of college. And then for me, I was a 39-year-old guy who lost his job and was looking for a change. And I went through the Bakri program, which was excellent. Thank you, Levi and Jen. And I got interested in that. But for me, this has always been a career. Since I was older, I came into it as looking at it not for a job. Like, a lot of times when you're high school, college, you're looking for a job. Let me get some money. And I was looking for a career change. So that's the biggest difference. So once I was in the career, and this was going to be my lifelong, thing I was going to be doing, I'm fully vested in trying to, like everyone else, I like to share my knowledge of what I have and to pique interest. I like doing it. I like doing a lot of tours for people, so it's enjoyable telling them about what I know and yeah, just like everyone else, I came in and no idea where the tap water came from. And my first experience was with West County, Shalaby, his first class. Didn't know anything about water. I was only going to go wastewater because I didn't know there was a water side, right? That whole concept. I took a semester course. I had no idea there was another side to it. So anyway, just it does excite me to be in this the video, just because sharing what a hidden industry that is great pay, and it's a great job. Actually, you've got physical work, you got mental work, and you got computer work, and you can actually, any of those jobs, you can actually focus on any of those items. That you like more hands-on, but you got a guy who works with you that can do the write-up, and you can, he's with you, and we did this together, and okay, you do the write-up, but I'll do the fixing. You can kind of split it up like that. So it's for participating in this, though, is giving me an avenue just to say, hey, come look at us. This is a great career path for anyone who wants to get into it.
And I was really happy to participate, to share my story of how I got into the industry and how this is now my second career. But I had a first career in construction management, and I went to 4-year college, Fresno State construction management, and the economy basically pushed me out of that career. And I found water treatment because I was looking for stability, and I figured no one was going to stop drinking water. But in studying it, the math portion of it I had the most fun doing. Learning the math when I was trying to get licensed by the state and get hired by agencies like East Bay Mud, I knew that the math was important. So studying the math, I knew it was important, but it was also fun. And it was fun when I I applied math in what I did in construction. Also, calculating cubic yards or tonnage, lineal footage, square footages. Math was used a lot when I worked in construction also. So if there's ways through like this organization to convey to students, that the math portion is important, but it's also fun. Learning it, and a short investment can gain you a really bright future.